Okay, this is a direction slide. So if you give me 5 or 10 minutes of your time, you can come back to it or whatever about the assignments for the week. I know that I did this last week, but for those of us who don't have a long memory, I'm going to do it again and show you a few things. So you have two things due at the top of next week, the 7th and the 8th. One is the lab report, and the other is the content. Content I'll take care of next. First, the carbohydrate lab. This is the lab that we did last Friday. All right, the carbohydrate lab. Let's go over a few of the specificities here. All right, so if we talk about the carbohydrate lab, there are two things here. There is format and there is content. Format for all 18 of you is the same. Content into the lab is going to be different. So where do you follow that? I know treating you like you're 3 years old, but let's take a look. Should have this already. Sorry. Hold. All right, so under your lab documents, ladies and gentlemen, all the way down below, you see your lab report format. The lab report format, which I'll bring up in a second, is the format for doing every single lab report by part. There are 4 parts to it. I'll come back to it as a need be. All right, everybody follows that report. Read it, use it, follow it. Now, the lab writing guide is different. The lab writing guide, which is above here, is if, let's say, you don't know how to do a section of the report and would like a little bit of help, you can go into that. And I suggest you use that as well as we start to figure out what you can do and what you can't do on the level that you need to do it on. Everybody can do a freshman data table and a freshman graph. But as your corn labs indicated last week, as I just finished those up yesterday, not everybody can do a college data table and a real graph. Take a look and say, well, I don't know what to do. Take a look at it. Well, you will. Why? Because on the class page, there are 3 templates, and you should start using them, which will show you, all right, right here, 1, 2, and 3, which will show you specifically what to do and how to. Really, you can look at a graph and say, oh, that's how I'm supposed to do a graph, even if it's not the graph you're going to do, even if you're not doing a graph now. Because I'm really, like I said, with the carbohydrate lab, I'm not sure what you are going to come up with for your processing, but every lab has to be processed. And so the lab writing guide might not be, really helpful for that because it doesn't usually covers quantitative processing. All right, so the format here, if you take a look at it, particularly boys and girls, with the background information in an introduction you're going to write, don't forget cited information, cited, APA cited. Take a look at the references on the video class page for how it is cited, APA citing. All right, at least a page, at least the first page of your lab report should be taken up with the introduction. I'm going to skip data collection and processing, go right to conclude and evaluate. Every single person in here needs to read in the lab report guide and then look on the templates for how to do a correct evaluation. All right, this is not an error evaluation. This is not what was my error and how to do it. They're very specific on this level that needs to be done. 4 evaluated error or weaknesses or limitations, so forth and so on, for each lab. 4 paragraphs in that section. Look, because there are ways that you can do that to make your life easier. Look at the templates. Look at the templates. Conclude and evaluate. We went over. For your carbohydrate lab, I'm going to go back to that. You have from your pre-lab, you have what colors you got, what were expected. So make it sort of a teaching. Kind of tell us what was the reaction for each of the 6 experiments. What was the reaction inside the test tube that caused the colors, the test tube's liquid to change color? If they did, and if they didn't, it's another issue. So 6 of those, 6 paragraphs. All right, so for this lab, parts 1, 3, and 4 are done. Please do not do part 2, which is the design, because I gave you the design. All right, for the specifics, look at the lab report notes for this lab. So again, if we go back to the classroom page and you find this lab, let me find this lab. Here's the carbohydrate lab. There it is. Every time you get a lab and have a lab, I will give you a special set All right, the last page of here is the notes for this lab. So this is not the format. This is telling you, giving you a little bit of hints of what should go in. Sections 1 to 3, so forth and so on. Don't forget on the back of the lab report format to read the incidentals. What can, point font and so forth and so on. All right, class period 1 you are, followed by your report cover sheet makes it look all the more better. All right, so for your lab report, one more thing to note out to you. It is due at the beginning of class on October 8th, and that is a week from yesterday, Tuesday, or today, as I'm recording this. At the beginning of the class, printed. So if you don't have access to a printer, sharing it is not enough, taking points off. You finish it by October 7th, bring it in, get it printed, have it ready to go for the next day. You got to think advance, or else go out and use your riches to buy yourself a cheap printer and only print science on it. This way you can save the ink. October 8th at the beginning of class, handed, not shared. Everything is printed unless I tell you otherwise. All right? Good. Let's move to the screencasting. All right, so you're going to be finishing the rest of this PowerPoint, okay, about 45 to 50 slides on your own with guidance from me. And what is that guidance from me? Let's get rid of the classroom page here. All right. The guidance from me comes from these 9 screencasts. I can get rid of directions because I'm re-recording it. These 9 screencasts. I've gone through the information with you. All right, let's go over what you need to know. First of all, I want to apologize for my voice, because if my voice sounds like it does on that, I need to see a doctor because I'm hoarse all the time. Bad, bad, bad. I thought it was the Texas dust. And by the way, don't move to Texas. Ugh, get me out of here. All right. I placed a link on the Classroom YouTube, on the Classroom for the YouTube page, where you're going to find all of these things. Go back to Classroom. It's not there yet. I didn't load it up to you. It's drafted, but it will be there later on. I will also put the entire PowerPoint on, although you can, on the YouTube, each link will have the PowerPoint selections for that one, but the whole thing will go up since you will be going to be finishing this on your own. All right. Watch each video in order, beginning with these directions, which will say listen first, in order, 1 to 9. Each will teach a separate concept according to the curriculum in the order that I would have done it in class. Maybe not with the excitement, though, because I get a little, I don't know what to say. All right. Follow any directions embedded in the video that has to do with drawing. I will direct you as what needs to be drawn. Usually right at the beginning, the first 3 or 4 have drawings in them, but you listen. All right. Pause as you wish to take the notes or do the diagrams. I did not give you any pause time like we would sometimes in class to do that. All right. So if you do this in class, which is recommended, or the lab report, use your own earphones. I think if you give 2 periods over to this and 2 periods to the lab report, you should have both basically wrapped up by Friday. Okay, it's up to you. You can do whatever you will with the class page. That's what I told the subs. But the due dates are the due dates, which we'll get back in a second. Now, so along with this, and you taking a look at the screencast, Scoozy. Uh-oh, there we go back. At the screencast, I'm not redoing this. You just have to listen to my babbling. The screencast, all right? I think you should also have your companion textbook out as well, taking a look here, because I indicated applications and skills as I went through them. Remember, applications are applications to the curricula that you see here. So these are the 3 understandings that we're going to be doing there, and there are the applications to them. All right, so those were gone over, and that takes a little bit more. So where the applications come in, you're going to need to read through it, because the evidence here, I quoted some things that are in the textbook and some won't, and so you do need to get a few of those down, but I didn't do notes on them. All right, so you'll see when you get up to, I think it's a number 6 or 7 or 8 there, when you're talking about the applications about lipid health. There, pardon my phone. So take a look at that and get rid of this now. All right, so we get back here to the smartboard and wrap this up. Okay, this is due. There's your section 3 too. This is due, boys and girls, Monday, October 7th. By the time I come into class and we start first period on Monday, which is a double period, we're going right on to protein. We're not going back to this. This is the same thing as carbohydrates, just with lipids. And it's a comparison. And you're going to need to compare lipids to carbohydrates and then proteins, which we start on Monday. The material for test 2 ends with this PowerPoint. So Monday we begin the material for test 3. Right now, test 2 is scheduled for October 15th, but it's the 15th or the 17th. We can decide that on Monday. It really doesn't matter to me. The only thing it would do is that test 2 and test 3 are going to be pretty close in time to each other, because the fact if we string it out a little bit, this being only October 1st. Okay, Monday, October 7th. Monday, October 7th. You see the line says the screencasts are anywhere from, I think the shortest one is about 2.5 minutes, and the longest one is 10 minutes. All right, so at your own, good luck with this. No big deal. I will see you on Monday. Have a great week and weekend.